Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Roll for Crit at Gen Con 2015. I'm Jonathan Estes.
I'm Will Keeler. Yesterday you saw us talk about Legendary. Today we're going to look at Upper Deck's other games. The first one, and a really big one, is the Verse system. We talked about this a little bit last year, in which they tried to come out with the Verse system and had a little snafu. But they're back and better, and they have it here.
Reworking of older trading card game.
Right, and reworking of the previous reworking.
It's a reworking.
It's pretty much it's called a 2PCG. So pretty much similar to the Living Card Game or Expandable Card Game, in which it comes with this will be a base set. This comes with 400 cards, full set, 4 copies of every card.
Only need 1 copy to play.
Right, and each set, and there'll be 2 more expansions, 200 cards each for the year, and that's when they'll change.
We talked about some of this in our first trade day episode.
Exactly.
So let's talk about this in detail. Tell me about Versus.
So the way the game works is that comes with multiple decks for you to choose which teams. They come with sort of leaders, main characters for you to choose. This is the X-Men ones I'm holding. They come with 2 levels, and they have ways that they can level up, and if you do whatever they do quick enough, you can get their second level, which is stronger.
Okay.
Meanwhile, you'll be placing your heroes in the front or back row, and through that you'll be attacking your opponents. If they're in the front row, they attack with melee. In the back, they can only attack with range. So usually you're probably going to put your supporters or your range attackers in the back. So how you see like Sieged and front.
Makes sense.
You can, however, if they're flying, go for your opponent's back row. If otherwise, you have to go through the front row first.
Okay.
The big thing is, which intrigued me, is when you attack a character, and let's say you're able to deal more damage than the defense, it doesn't kill them, like what I'm used to in Yu-Gi-Oh! Magic, almost every trading card game. Mm-hmm. You flip them over, they become stunned, and you put a damage marker on them. Now, if their damage exceeds their health, then they're called KO'd.
Okay, so
it's a much more...
2 levels you have to go through.
Right. So you don't just simply kill them.
Interesting. Also, note that in the preview version, I'm pretty sure there were 3 rows, not just the front and the back.
In this one, there's only the front or rear.
So that's one simplification. Yeah.
Also, what they did is team attacks. So this is why there's an X-Men deck, there's an Avenger deck, so on and so forth. Mm-hmm. If characters have the same symbol, they can actually group together to attack one enemy character.
And if you're building your own deck, you're probably going to build towards that.
So this allows you to, if you know, like they had a 6/6 on the field, for example. If you attack with 3/2/2 Avengers, he can only attack one of them. So one of yours may get stunned, because deal damage to each other at the same time, but you'll still stun his. So and you'll still have 2 Avengers out.
Strength in numbers.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And that's what this game is all about. And of course, you'll be playing cards face down, and they produce your recruit points. It's similar to the vein of, I can't remember, I think it's Force of Will, where you can any card can become a energy. I might be screwing that up, so I apologize in advance. So many games in my head. But which is interesting because certain cards, then like you'll have to go through the deck. Like I could use this as a resource now, but I want to play it later.
So you had a weird thing.
There is one card in particular I want to get to, Deadpool. Mm-hmm. And they really captured Deadpool in the sense of breaking the 4th wall.
Okay.
His level 2 ability has first he can give all characters lethal, meaning instead of if he's able to stun a character, he actually KOs them, not just him, all your characters.
Pretty good, very good.
However, as long as Deadpool's out, he can attack the enemy player. Now, usually there's no attacking the enemy player; it's just the characters on the field.
Right.
But he sees you.
Wow.
And as long as you're in. For him, he sees you as a 0/1 that has 1 damage and as a supporting character. So he can deal...
There are motorcycles outside if you can hear that.
He can deal lethal damage to you, and I don't know what happens if you're KO'd. So
you'll have to play the game and read the rules to find out.
So this game does do its best to capture these characters.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of big characters to capture as, and I know like you can play as Spider-Man 2 and stuff, so...
So overall, we're definitely looking forward to really digging into this.
Well, I'm also looking forward to see as more expansions come out, because we've already been told we're going to see Fox's properties.
Right.
Such as Alien, Predator, and hopefully, to go to a segue, maybe Firefly.
Oh, of course Firefly makes sense, because Upper Deck has licensed them, and their first game published under it is Firefly Shiny Dice. It's a dice game from Firefly, if you couldn't figure that out from Upper Deck. So this is pretty cool. It is... I don't want to say fairly standard dice game. not really a press your luck like a lot of dice games seem to be these days. Everybody has their own mat, and you roll. There's 15 dice total, and depending on which faces you get, there'll be supplies, crew members, and villains, or foes they call them.
Right.
And you move them into the sections that you need to put them into. And then what's cool about it, some of them have abilities like Wash lets you re-roll because he's a pilot and stuff like that. You draw a mission card, and your mission will be something like you need to have these faces available, or usually something like that, and then you'll have some more opportunities to achieve that, and you get points for it. And it ends up being most victory points at the end of the game wins. There's ways to take victory points from other players. There's some things like if you roll really bad, like if you get 4 of the same villain, you might lose points or things like that. But the design of the game is really cool. It actually did not start as a Firefly game. Originally, it did not have a license. It was just a fantasy generic thing.
Which is not to be expected because, as they said, Upper Deck is trying to work more on their non-licensed game.
Right, which we'll get to in a second. But it has a really nice look. I like the idea of the missions because it makes it feel like it adds a lot of the flavor to it from the Firefly universe.
No, I remember initially reading some of the mission cards.
Yeah,
they sounded really cool.
So they make it seem really thematic, especially for a dice game. And it seems like it has a solo mode. It seems like a perfect one for that because a lot of it is about that.
I loved when we were talking about it, he said like he regrets making the dice too big. Because then having to roll all of them, he's like, oh, no, wait, what's that?
That's true. Yeah, but they're so pretty. And finally, this would make a great mouse pad if you want it.
This is our selling part of the game. It comes with mouse pads.
Yeah, it comes with 2 mouse pads. Great game. So the final thing, as you said, Upper Deck working on its original games. Very briefly got to see their newest one, Bring Out Your Dead.
Right. Neither of us actually do have a copy of this, though, so we can't show it to you right now.
Right. It is available at Gen Con, but not wide release yet. Probably very soon. And the idea of this game is that you have a bunch of coffins. Those are your pieces. And you're trying to get your relatives buried.
In the best plots.
Best parts of town.
Yeah.
So you can get the most out of their inheritance or whatever it is.
Right. You know, you got to be like, you got the nice place. Like, look, look over the sunset or something.
It seems like really fun. As I said, really brief. We just kind of got a little taste of it when I visited their booth today. But the board is really cool. Look, the pieces are fun. One thing I like is there's possibilities where you can mess with other people's coffins, so you can switch them around to worse plots or throw them in the river, which is the center of the board, which is a great.
Well, you know what I think would be a great thing for them to do in the future with that one?
Yeah.
I haven't played it yet, but I want to. But they should do like the Gloom expansion in which you have relatives you hate, so you're trying to put them in shitty places.
If only. Yeah, that could be a variant. You could do that for sure.
But no, it looks really cool. I'm really excited to see, although Upper Deck trying to expand out of the license. Not to have anything against their licensed games.
No, we love them.
Yeah. Well, I'm also
but
the other one.
But it's cool to see them grow.
I'm looking forward to the other one they talked about.
Yes, which we mentioned in our trade day video. You'll have to watch it to find out. So that's Upper Deck. We have a lot of cool stuff. We've covered, I think, everything they have that's new between this and the other video. If you want to see more, we have a lot of other Gen Con coverage at rollforcrit.com/GenCon15. Until next time, I'm Jonathan Estes.
I'm Will Keeler, and this has been Roll for Crit at Gen Con 2015.